She texted a while ago and was like, should I come? I was like, yes, absolutely. But
Okay, but like randomly asked me this morning. It wasn't random. She got us like a booster seat for Serena. I was like, oh gosh, I could give us this. And he was like, how is she?
yeah,
How's this thing going? I was like, I haven't seen her. Because I haven't seen
she
her.
was in India for like 2 months or a month and a half. And she said, let's see, she just got back yesterday and planning to come to the studio to assist today.
Oh my gosh. I haven't seen her.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good.
Best teacher trainer.
Great. We have last weekend of immersion this weekend.
Yeah.
And then this year, Mary's going to be part of the weekends even more. So she's going to hold the first weekend in January. And
So
then,
do you both like have a break?
yeah. Well, first weekend always is scheduled at Adriana's birthday. So she's never there because she shouldn't be there. But then we're going to be swapping a few weekends here together with Mariel wanting to be in it more. Yeah. I'm so excited.
Everyone's like, how did you do that? All the, I'm just like, you like come and it's like kind of taken care of when you're here, but for you guys, like I can't imagine having to teach for like
Hour. But it's
so
it's 14-hour weekends total.
yeah, that's crazy still.
But there's lots of breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys are all so good. You know, it just makes it so easy. It's recorded, so it's on file. Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Is it cold in here? Are you guys okay? We're gonna get warmer, but do you want me to turn the heat up just a little bit? Okay. One yes is all it takes. Too hot. And then the fans. I feel like I live in a 3-story house and it has forced air. And so first floor is always, and it's like an old West Philly house. So first floor is like drafty. And by the time I get to the 3rd floor, I'm like, I can only wear tank tops. That's it. Hi, Anisha. How are you? Good.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. We'll start in a couple minutes. All the props we'll use blocks, a blanket if you want to tuck yourself in or want some extra padding during Shavasana, strap, and then therapy balls. We'll get some time to roll towards the later end of class. But if you need anything or you want me to grab you anything, I can do that as we start to move around too. It's going to rain for the next 3 days. Do you see that? I'm like, snow. Is it ever going to snow again in Philadelphia in December? I got sucked into I hope not. No. I got sucked into a Hallmark movie wormhole yesterday, meaning I started one and then they just kept playing over and over again. And the one that I've watched, also feel free to ignore for the next 3 minutes if this is not the content you're ready to listen to, but there's a movie called A Royal Corgi Christmas. Has anyone heard of this? Has anyone been in a...
I've heard of it and not, because I'm into like the cheesy Christmas
It's...
stuff.
And I was like, how does Hallmark have a budget? What is the Hallmark budget? They have $2 million to make 32 Christmas movies every year.
Oh my God.
Yes. And 32 new Christmas movies every year. Come sit. Yes, according to Google, which is a shock to me.
Like 2 million sounds low now. Did you say 2 million?
But I was talking to a friend of mine who's in video production, and she's like, this scene cost 1 cent. You know, they're like in a room, and that's all returnable Target outfits that she has done. So like, I think they can squeeze in a lot.
Yeah, okay.
But the very corgi Christmas, I do not suggest anyone to watch unless you are really looking for something to do on a Sunday night. It is about a corgi named Mistletoe who's unruly, and he's part of the Queen's Royal Corgi crew. And by the queen, we mean a queen of who knows where, somewhere in England. But Joey King's sister is in it, if that's of any interest to you. It took me a Google to figure out who she was too, but this is not related to yoga at all. But in the 3 days when it's raining, there might be enough content to watch through Hallmark and Hallmark alone.
So does the corgi mistletoe say Christmas?
He makes them fall in love. She is a YouTube dog trainer, and the prince, owns this unruly 1-year-old untrainable dog, and she writes a letter to the royal family, and they immediately let her come in and train the dog, but realize she's training the prince to fall in love with her. So, keeps you on the edge of your seat. She was training. Mm-hmm.
Definitely sounds like 2 million divided by 32.
Yes. Maybe divided by half of that. Hi. Okay. Welcome back. Are you jet lagged? Have you been awake since 2 a.m.?
It's
4
4 a.m.
a.m.
It'll be fine.
Good. Well, today we're going to do some inversions. So we'll go to the wall for a little bit. Do you want to, anything that you want to do? You want to walk around today?
Yeah, I will.
Great. Okay. Perfect. And I'll practice. Okay. Hi, friend. Good to see you. Great. Even if you want to lay down the whole time, feel free. All right. Tired, I understand. Yay, okay. We're just waiting on 1 or 2 more, but there's plenty of room for them to come in. We'll use all of the props. If you need any kashikan, I can bring them over to you. But therapy balls, strap, blocks, blanket, and all the good stuff. Happy Monday. Did you guys have a good weekend? Did you do any of the the holiday fairs? There was like 6 of them this weekend that I saw. I didn't go to a single one, but if anyone did, I hope you had a nice time. For those of us that are new to each other or haven't met in a while, my name is Anisha, and we're so lucky to have Kashika back with us here assisting. So the way that it's going to look is I'll be practicing from the mat so that folks at home and you all can have a visual, and she'll be walking around for any assists, any advice. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask her, pick her brain, because it's such a gift to have two folks in the room, one who's up front and one who's around. So thank you. And she just got back from India yesterday, so we're a little jet lagged, but we made it. When she texted 10 minutes before class, I was like, okay, yes, come, please. And then fall asleep right afterwards. But today, what we're going to do is similar to last week, but kind of different. So on November 25th until December 15th, we're in a 3-week cycle of Mercury, the planet, being in retrograde. And for some of us, that's very relevant. Some of us attune our worlds to it. For others, it's like, you have to Google. There's a website that says, ismercuryinretrograde.com today? And it either says yes or no. And essentially what it means and how it's relevant to our practice is right now for 2 more weeks, Mercury, the planet, is zipping around us a little bit faster than we're going around the sun. And the analogy that I said last week that I'll say again today is that it's the sensation of if you're sitting in a vehicle going at a certain speed and you look out the window and another car or train is zipping by you a little faster, the sensation you have is almost like time is standing still, or maybe you're going a little bit backwards. It's a little discombobulating. And it's not a time of year necessarily to stop doing anything that you have planned or to stop engaging in the world, but it's a time that we take to do all of the things that start with the prefix of RE. We take this time to reflect, to restore, to renew, to rejuvenate, so that when the retrograde ends on the 15th, you have this store of energy, you have this store of capacity to move in the direction that we're moving towards. So today's class, we're going to go get warm, we'll go upside down for a moment, and then we'll take a long time to roll and lie down. But all of that being said, even if I don't suggest them, which I'll try to do all throughout class, take breaks, pace yourself, modify at any point you need to modify, because the practice, not just during the retrograde, but all year round, it's a strategy and a tool that we can use to constantly reassess, re-engage, reflect, and see what's happening with each and every breath that we take. So I'm glad you're here. I'll turn the fans on, I'll turn the heat off when it starts to get warmer, just let me know. But let's start today in a comfortable seat, however that looks for you. You're more than welcome to start lying down on the ground. You can start cross-legged, you might start on your knees. If you are seated, you might sit up on something, a blanket or a block, just so that your hips can naturally be higher than your knees. And as you let your eyes either close completely or soften to a point, begin to listen for the sound of your breath. When we close our eyes, it gives us a moment to see not only ourselves, but everything more clearly than before. Bless you. A chance to reassess, to renew, to restore, and to re-engage with the fluency of your breath. So as you continue to notice your breath, can you let each round slowly dissolve the morning and day that was? Let each breath help you arrive to where you are now. And each breath that comes after makes a little bit more space for what has yet to come. So as your breath naturally begins to deepen, can you send the breath from your nose down into your belly and up into your heart? And with every exhale, offer the breath up and out through the very crown of your head, creating more space for more breath. A few more rounds just on your own, where each breath moves in, down, and wide, anchoring you to yourself. And each exhale pours itself up, out, and through you in every direction. Let's start our time together with 3 more rounds of that same breath. You can place your hands to center anywhere that feels for you on your body, or perhaps in front of your heart in a moment of self-reverence. If those hands are in Anjali Mudra, you might pull your thumbs back to touch your heart as you lift your heart up into your thumbs to meet yourself where you are. Wait for your next inhale as it fills you up. And exhale to let all of that breath go. 2 more times on your own. At the bottom of your breath, pause for a moment. Take notice of any difference that comes, and you listen for and really remember the sound of your breath. And keeping that connection to yourself as best as you can, let your hands release, gently blink your eyes open, and let's start standing today at the top of our mats to start to link breath and movement together through some Surya Namaskars. So as you come to stand at the top of your mat, let your feet be right under your hips, toes pointing ahead, and tiny bend in your knees so that they don't lock. Now watching for your friends around you, we'll start to add the arms. As you inhale, reach your arms forward and up to the sky. And on your exhale, stay tall. Just let the arms fall down by your sides. A couple more times with your breath. Wait for your inhale to reach the arms up. And every exhale, let the arms float down. 3 more on your own. You might go to the sides, but breathe into your belly, your chest, and up into your lungs. And exhale to let the arms come down. Can the top of your head grow taller? Twice more. Big breath in, soften the knees. And exhale to offer the breath out. Now on your next inhale, the next time the arms reach up, get a drop taller than you were. And exhale to soften your knees as you hinge at your hips to fold. Bring your hands to blocks or the floor out in front of your feet. But as the knees stay soft, let your head be heavy here as you bow in towards yourself. Now, like I mentioned, we'll be going upside down today, but anytime your head is below your chest like it is right now, you're inverted. So what's the quality of your breath here in your forward fold? Can you take a longer breath in and a steadier breath out through every direction of you? Now on your inhale, come up halfway, hands to shins or blocks as you reach forward through your heart. And exhale to fold, bowing in towards yourself. Let's do that twice more. Wait for your breath more than my voice. Inhale to come up halfway. And exhale to fold, bowing in towards yourself. 1 more. Grow longer through your spine as you inhale, lengthen, come up halfway. And exhale to fold, bowing in towards your own self. Plant your palms to the top of your mat, 1 foot at a time. Walk your feet to the back of your mat to bring it back to down dog. You might be in stillness. You might gently pedal your heels from one side to the other. You might even soften and straighten your legs at the same time. But take a bigger breath in and a longer breath out through every fiber of your being. Now on your next inhale, come forward to plank pose. Find the top of your push-up. Lower your knees down onto the ground for this first one and walk your hands to come as wide as your mat if they're not already. With your hands nice and wide, your knees down, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Get very long through the sides of your waist. And now keep your arms straight as you soften right in between your shoulder blades. Think chest forward. Big breath in. And as you exhale, bend your elbows to lower halfway. Shoulders no lower than your elbows. Hug your shoulder blades together. Think heart forward. Big breath in. Stay for your exhale. And then inhale to push the arms straight back up to plank. And take it back to downward facing dog as you lift your hips to the sky. We'll do that a few times today, so if it didn't land this first round, just take a breath or two and see if you can use your internal GPS, that sensation that you have, to feel right in between your shoulder blades. And now from the shoulder blades, the back of your heart, push the floor down and forward, and think hips up and back to the wall behind you so you get longer in every direction. A big breath in. And a longer breath out. Now lift your heels high, soften your knees, peek forward, and 1 foot at a time, walk your feet up towards your hands to come into your forward fold. Inhale brings you halfway up to lengthen. Let the fronts of your feet be heavy. And exhale to fold as you bow in towards yourself. Take a breath in to rise. Stand through your legs, reach the arms up, get taller. And exhale right away. 1 more time. We fold over the legs. Take your breath, inhale to lengthen halfway, grow longer. And on your exhale, step it back to plank pose. With your knees up or down, feel your legs back behind you and hug them towards each other from right to left as if they could become one pillar. And now hug your palms towards each other. Feel the arms and forearms engage. Take a big breath in, reach your chest forward, and exhale to bend your elbows to lower all the way to your belly. Cobra or cobra, really press the pinky toenails down into the ground. And on your exhale, we meet in downward facing dog, hips to the sky. A full steady breath in and a long, full breath out. Now on your next inhale, float the right leg up and back. Step it through or around to catch your lunge. Come high up onto your fingertips or blocks on either side of that right foot. Now wiggle your left toes back another inch or two so you get longer in your stance. And on your next inhale, can you keep the right knee bent but lift your chest up? Big breath in. And exhale to come into pyramid pose. Straighten your right leg. Let's go through that twice more. So as you inhale, bend the right knee, lift your heart up. Exhale and straighten your right leg. One more with your breath. Drink in your inhale as you come through to lunge. And now exhale to fold. Straighten that right leg. Pause here. With the right leg straight but not locked, can you lift your left back heel higher away from the ground so you can really push through the left foot and wrap your left hip forward so the right hip can tack back. Hopefully you feel that more in the right hamstrings rather than behind the knee. As you take a longer breath in, stay for your exhale. You might keep the arms straight. Ooh, or soften your elbows. You okay, friend? Soften your elbows as you bow in towards yourself. Now on your next inhale, we back it up. Bend your right knee. Plant your palms on the ground. Facing dog as you step back through the right foot. Pedal your heels one at a time. Notice any difference that you feel from one side to the other. And now a couple times together. Inhale through to plank pose. Find the top of your push-up. Big exhale to lower. Chaturanga Dandasana. Rise. Bhujangasana. Hug the shoulder blades together. And let your exhale bring you back to downward facing dog. Slow down your breath in and offer the exhale out. And let's take it to the second side. Lift the left leg to the sky. Step the left foot through and around to catch your lunge. Come high up onto your blocks or fingertips on either side of that left foot. As you wiggle your right toes back another inch or two, stay in your lunge, bend the knee, and take a breath in as you lift the heart. See where you're going. On your exhale, fold and straighten the left leg. Twice more, follow your breath more than my voice. Inhale through to lunge. On your exhale, fold. One more, whole breath in. Breathe into the belly, into the heart as you bend the knee. And on your third round, fold and let that left leg straighten. Now here, can you lift the right heel just a drop higher away from the earth? This will help move the hips. And as you wrap your back right hip forward, tack the front left hip back. And now press your left big toe down into the earth. Notice what you feel in the outer right left leg. Take a full breath in. Stay exactly as you are for your exhale. You might let the elbows soften. Soften the grip of your fingertips around the blocks or on the floor as you bow in. Now inhale to come back through center. Bend your left knee. Plant your palms on the earth. Take it back to downward facing dog. Pedal the heels and notice what you feel from one side to the other. Now inhale through to plank pose. With your knees up or down, walk your hands to come as wide as your mat. Keep your arms straight. Now shrug your shoulders to the ears. Think like you could get longer from your hips to your armpits. Keep your arms straight, but soften right in between your shoulder blades. As you look forward, take a big breath in. And now exhale to lower halfway. Chaturanga Dandasana. Shoulders no lower than the elbows. Reach your heart forward. Big breath in. And on your exhale, push the arms straight back up to plank and take it back to downward facing dog. Hips to the sky. A longer breath in through the nose. And a clear, steady breath out through every direction of you. On your next inhale, float the right leg to the sky. Step it through or around to catch your lunge once again. And this time we come up to rise for high lunge. Reach the arms, the chest, and the torso to the sky. So those planks get us a little warmer. I'm trying to get hot quick so we can wind down sooner. So walk your right foot as much as you need over to the right so you're less on a tightrope. And like you did in pyramid, lift that left heel higher. Lift the left thigh to the sky. Now as you grow taller through the arms, lift your heart. Take a big breath in. Stay for your exhale and bend one more inch into that left thigh. Let's add a side stretch. You can bring your right hand to your right hip or let your right hand hold the left wrist. But as you grow taller through the right fingertips, start to tip up and over to the right. Wrap your left back hip forward, tack your right hip back, and then slide the ears back as you tip up and over to the right hand side. Now inhale, slow and steady, come up through center, bring your hands to your hips. We're coming to stand, tiny bend in the back knee, all the hops you need to spring off your left foot. Grow 1 inch taller as you stand through the right leg, and now lower the left foot down. Bend your knees, sit your hips back. Lean into your left foot, lift your right heel, and for standing figure 4, cross your right ankle over the left thigh. Your hands can stay on your hips. If you're close to the wall, you can hold the wall. You can also come high up onto blocks to hold something steady in front of you. But wherever your hands are, see if you can flex through that right foot. And listen for your breath. Take a big breath in, down, and wide. Stay for the exhale. Think butt to the back of your mat as you lift your heart up to the sky. And now inhale to come all the way up to rise. Lower the right foot down. Feel gravity underneath as you reach up. Big breath in. And on your exhale, fold, bowing in. Plant your palms to the top of your mat. Walk your feet to the back of your mat. Take it to down dog. And now follow your breath. Inhale through to plank pose. Shoulders to ears, soften between the shoulder blades. Exhale to lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to rise for cobra. Hug those shoulder blades together. And on your exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. From your down dog, float the left leg to the sky. Step it through or around or use a helping hand to catch your lunge. And as you inhale, we meet in high lunge. You reach the arms, the chest, and the torso to the sky. Remember, the more you walk your left foot to the left, it'll be less like you're on a balance beam. Might steady the ground beneath you. But the steadiness is going to come from that right leg. Lift the right thigh high to the sky. Wrap your right hip forward. And as you grow tall through the arms, even look away from the ground. Now for a side stretch, maybe left hand to your hip or let your left hand catch your right wrist. Grow 1 inch taller and slow and steady tip up and over to the left. Can you keep wrapping your back right hip forward? Tack your front left hip back and then slide the ribs back and the ears back as you tip up and over to the left. Take 1 more breath in. Stay for your exhale. And then inhale to come up through center. Maybe arms stay overhead or come to your hips as we come up to rise. Right thigh to the chest. Stand down through the left leg. Grow 3 inches taller through the crown of your head. And now lower the right foot down. Feel gravity beneath. Bend your knees. Sit your hips back. Lean into the right foot. Lift your left heel. And standing figure 4 or pigeon chair. Left ankle over the right thigh. Think hinge from your hips. Tush goes back as you lift your heart to the sky. And can you do your best to flex that left foot like it's standing on solid ground? It'll help steady the ankle and knee. But a big breath in. Stay for your exhale. And then inhale to come all the way up to rise. Lower the left foot down, reach up. And exhale to fold, bowing in. Plant those palms to the top of your mat. Step your feet all the way back to take it to downward facing dog. Pedal the heels from side to side and take notice of what you feel. And now inhale brings you through to plank pose and lower to meet all the way down onto your belly. Make a pillow with your hands. Rest on your forehead or on one of your cheeks. Stretch your legs back behind you and just close your eyes for a moment as you listen for the sound of your breath. The beauty of this practice is that there's going to be poses that are meant to really test your capacity of breath. They make you sweat, they increase your heart rate, but built in throughout the yoga practice, the physical practice, there's times to renew, to reflect, to reassess, and see what it is that you need. So as you breathe here into your belly, and you feel how that broadens and widens the lowest part of your back. As you breathe into your belly and then up into your chest, feel how the whole back of your body widens and expands. And now keeping that connection to your breath, bring your hands alongside of you, flip your palms down to face the floor, and we'll take a round or two in locust pose. So before we fully lift up, feel your legs back in space behind you and hug your inner thighs towards each other. They don't have to touch by any means, but feel them engage in together. Now shrug your shoulders to the ears, squeeze the shoulder blades together. As you inhale, lift your head, lift your heart, float your arms up off the earth, and exhale to let the legs lift up and away from the ground. Let your eyes either soften or fully close to really listen for your breath. With each inhale, can you hug the inner thighs towards each other? Think inseams of your pants towards the ceiling. This will clear space in the low back. Now hug the shoulder blades together. Lift your palms 1 more inch. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, release. Lower down. Rest on the other palm or on the other cheek. Let your eyes soften or close. And listen for the full depth of your breath. You might keep your tush still, you might wiggle your butt gently from side to side, but feel that breath wash its way in and down all the way through you. Now hands come to either side of your chest. Press yourself up through to tabletop, come up to your hands and your knees. You can sit back on your heels, sip some water, shake it out. We'll come in for a thigh stretch. And if you'd like to use blankets or blocks, you can find all those things. We'll take the thigh stretch with the twist to start. So when you're hydrated and ready, I think I said this last week, the day that Mercury in retrograde started, the microphone broke. So when Mercury goes in retrograde, it's the time when like technology and communication is off, meaning if you find yourself like sending the wrong text to the wrong person or like sending an email prematurely, you just got a planet to blame it on. You know, it's not your fault. It's the celestial beings themselves are trying to circumvent. But this is, yeah. I wish I knew what that meant, but it sounds bad, which means swirling around each other. And yet we're here. We made it on time to class, and we're breathing with each other. So keep doing that. But let's take a thigh stretch with a little twist. So come to tabletop. I like to have a blanket and blocks. You might be on your hands and your knees. But from table, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand to come into lizard lunge. Check to see that your left knee isn't directly under your left hip. Walk it back an inch or two if it is. And now with your left hand down on the block or on the floor, right palm to your right thigh. From your belly button, start to turn open to the right. Now hug your back knee forward. Lift your back toes up off the ground. And you might reach the right arm back towards the wall behind you. You might let your right hand hold the right toes, the leg of your pants or your heel. It's also the season I like to stick my fingers between my toes because they're always in socks to give them a little pedicure sensation. But as you hold somewhere on the leg, shrug both shoulders together, slide the ears back, and listen for the breath. Take a deeper breath in. Stay for your exhale. You might bend 1 more inch into that front right thigh as you turn from your belly open to the right. Now inhale to release the hold of your leg. Plant your palms. Take it back to tabletop. Can be here for a breath or two, maybe a round of cat and cow. Just link your breath and movement back together again. And now after a few breaths for the second side, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. With your right hand on fingertips or blocks, left hand to your left hip or to the left thigh. As you turn to the left, hug your legs together, bend your right knee and lift the right toes up off the floor. Breathe here, or you might reach the left arm back. You might hold on to the toes, the heel, or the leg of your pants. But as you shrug, think pencil between the shoulder blades. Hug both of them together, and then slide the ears back so your head is over your heart. And now a full breath in. Stay for your exhale. And as you bend into the left thigh from your belly, turn your chest open to the left. On your next inhale, release the hold of your foot. Plant your palms and take it back to tabletop 1 more time. Now from table, walk your legs, your knees, your feet as close as they can come together. Tuck all 10 of your toes under and begin to sit your tush onto your heels as you grab a block between your hands. So we're moving towards forearm stand today. We're going to play with dolphin without any weight on the hands and just see what it feels like. So with your toes tucked, if this feels like too much pressure on the arches of your feet, if you want to alleviate, you can always bring a block between your heels and your tush or stand on your knees. But hold the block between your hands and now give it a squeeze. Hug your palms into the block. We did this in plank pose. Can you shrug your shoulders to your ears, really get long through the sides of your body? And now keep your arms straight as you plug your shoulder blades together. It'll feel like the block is coming closer to your face. Squeeze the block with your palms, and now bend your elbows like the block could reach up to the sky. Shrug the shoulders to the ears. Think shoulder blades together. And now begin to lift your elbows towards the ceiling. The block will start to travel behind you. Squeeze the block. Think forearms towards each other. Slide the ribs back and elbows to the sky. A big breath in. Stay for the exhale. Slide the ears back to lift your chin. And now inhale to release the hold of the block. Shake it out. Come back to table. And shake out the feet and ankles. How'd that go? Yeah? There was a moment when I first learned that. There's like a scale of what happens. There's one scale is, okay, I'm just holding this block. Something is happening, but there's a block going over it. The other scale is I am clenching every muscle in my entire body and not breathing. And I have never experienced more muscle contraction than I've ever experienced before. But we want to find somewhere in the middle, because the next thing that we're going to do is get more weight bearing. So that was dolphin pose without any weight on the forearms. Now we're going to lower down onto the forearms. But the action I really want you to think about is sometimes, if you can't really tell, but sometimes the sides of our body get really short, meaning like the fabric of your shirt might start to crinkle. When I say shrug your shoulders to the ears, what I'm trying to get you to do is not use these muscles to go but use your breath to lift your whole rib cage up, lift the whole shoulder girdle up, and then keep that as the shoulder blades come together. Yeah, it feels a little different. Mariel always calls it, you want the back of your neck to feel like puppy skin. You know when you hold a pup, I haven't done this in forever, but in theory, you can hold a puppy at the back of the neck, and that neck is always soft, like mom always holds puppy in the mouth. Am I making this up? Okay, thank you. Everyone's just like, I try not to read any faces at all, but I'm like, I don't know if this is real or not. But the idea is you want this to be soft while you lift with your breath, the whole rib cage and shoulder girdle. So let's try it on forearms and knees. So you can use the block, bring it somewhere to the top of your mat, and then squeeze that block together with your palms. Now, as you look at your block and lower your knees and forearms down, can you bring your elbows right under your shoulders? So if they're wider, bring them a little closer together. Now, we did this lying down on our knees. Squeeze the block with your palms. Shrug your shoulders to the ears. And now look at your block as you soften between your shoulder blades. Think puppy skin in the neck. Tuck all 10 of your toes under. Try to look at your wrists as you lift your knees and hips up and come into dolphin pose. It's like down dog, but you're on your forearms instead of palms. Now squeeze that block together. Push your forearms down and lift your booty up to the ceiling. You breathing? Try to take a breath in there. As you squeeze that block together, push your forearms down. Notice how your shoulders come to the ears. And now think tush to the sky as you take one more breath in. And on your exhale, when you don't want to do it anymore, lower your knees to the floor. Rest for a breath in child's pose or in table. Just a moment where your head can be below your chest. Whew. All right, on your next inhale, come all the way up to rise. How'd that go? Questions? To the wall. We're going to go to the wall. We're going to the wall. Yep. So bring the short edge of your mat to the wall, and we'll bring both blocks with us. So if you can bring everything with you, but definitely both of your blocks. And now I'll show you some options where your feet will never have to lift up off the floor if you don't desire for them to. Yeah, lots of space on this wall over here. There's, Matt, you have some room? You good over there? Okay. All right. Everyone have space? We're going to come back. Yeah. We're just doing a little forearm stand interlude, and then we'll come back to lie down. So, forearm stand, there's a whole different category of inversions. There's headstand where your head is on the ground. There's forearm stand where just your forearms are on the ground, where your head is up off the floor. There's shoulder stand and there's handstand. And we're going to use the two blocks today to see and try and create a little pressure in between the shoulder blades. So I'll preface this with, for some people, they love this. For other people, they're like, nah, this really doesn't do it for me. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just another little tool in your toolkit to start to use to see what it feels like to be upside down in this way. So it's gonna look like this. I'll show you and then we'll work through it together. Your blocks are gonna come like this little Lego person. I haven't figured out how to describe this, but one comes at its highest height, the one comes at its middle height and kind of bisects it like a T. And now, your top block is gonna hit the wall and your bottom block will come slightly further away. And this is what it's gonna be like. You're gonna come into forearm, or a dolphin, where your bottom hands will catch the block, your head will come down, and now as you tuck your toes under, you lift your knees and hips up. And now what I want you to think of is I want you to start to, with your knees bent, walk your feet in towards your elbows. You'll get here and be like, the block is nowhere near. It's like 10 feet away. I promise you it's 1 centimeter away from you. You want to lean into the block so it hits right in between your shoulder blades. Yeah? And then once you find that block hitting between your shoulder blades, feet on the ground, you push into your forearms to lift your hips so that there's no weight on the head. And then there's the option, you can lift a leg at a time, just see what it feels like. If you want to lift both legs, you can. And then when you come out, the knees come down, and you watch, sometimes this block wants to fall on your head. But it's a great tool for those of us when you think of like, what are my shoulder blades? What is the back of our heart? This is gonna help you feel what you can squeeze into to get a little taller. Yeah? So we'll try it once, and then I'll give you some other variations to explore. I'm gripping the block so it doesn't fall. Yeah. So I'll talk you through it. So if you... Hands are a little narrower, yeah. So come down onto, Kashika and I can help you set up the block if you need to, but one block comes at its highest height, a few inches away from the wall, and the top block bisects it. So the top block is the only thing hitting the wall. And now lower down onto your forearms and your knees, and to Justin's point, let your hands just clasp the bottom block. It's not gonna be perfect, but just let your hands hold. Now take a breath as you tuck all 10 of your toes under, lift your knees and hips up, and with your knees soft, walk it in. Walk it in, 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 walk it in. I promise it's so close, lean into it. And once your upper back kisses the block, push your forearms down and lift your booty up to the sky. You breathing? Try and take a breath in there. Only if you so want, lift one of your favorite legs, try to straighten the knee and flex the foot. See what that feels like. You can lower that foot down, and then maybe you lift the other leg. There's no obligation, but if you're like, I'm good here, and you want to lift your legs, you can, but take a breath. And then when you've had your fill, the knees lower down, and take a breath or two to rest in child's pose. Yes? That is a way. I will say this block contraption isn't perfect, so it brings your hands a little narrower, which might mean that your head comes to the floor. But you got the block between the shoulder blades? Yeah. Forearms down into the ground to lift your head up off the ground. And if the idea is your head might graze the ground with the blocks here, that's fine. I just don't want you to push weight into the head until the sides of your neck get short, because that's a version of headstand. Yeah? So like, non-answer to your very good question. Yeah, I'm asleep. Any questions about it? Did anyone get the shoulder blades? Yeah? For some of us, you know, for me, this one really works because my arms naturally go forward of the shoulder sockets. So this feels like a sweet little pressure point. But for some of us, anatomically, we walk around this way, so this doesn't really do anything because you're like, the block is so far, it's not getting any action in there. So you're more than welcome to use it. You're more than welcome to not. I saw some of you already doing it, but the next stage, you can try lifting the other leg up at a time. Or when your upper back kisses the block, it gives you another point of reference to lift both legs up off the floor. I'm pushing into my forearms. My upper back is kissing the block. I'm squeezing my legs together, and I'm flexing my feet. And then when you want to come down, you lower down. The thing about bringing both legs up to the wall is very close to you. You know, you don't have to fling, because when you fling, you're going to bounce back up off the wall. So, which happens to me all the time. So it's these little hops, if you want to, but you don't have to. So let's try it one more time, and then I have one more variation to check out. Why am I eating hair? One more variation to check out. So call Kashika and I over if you have any questions at all. But as you lower down onto your forearms and knees, clasp the block, take a breath, and now tuck all 10 toes under and lift your knees and hips up. Now walk it in, 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 walk it in. Now once your upper back makes out with the block, push your forearms down, lift your hips higher to the sky. And now lift your favorite leg, straighten the knee, flex the foot, and then maybe the other leg lifts. Tiny bend in the knee, and you spring till both feet touch the wall. You're very close. Now once your feet extend, push your forearms down, lift your hips high, and now squeeze your legs towards each other. Take a breath. Whee! Rest when you need rest. Take breaks as breaks are needed. I know.
Is that supposed to go into your head? Are you supposed to
It might
feel your
graze.
head here?
You might feel it there, but we can also bring this a little bit closer so that the block touches the wall. It's okay if it touches. The idea is that I don't want you to like push weight into your, is your head touching the floor?
No.
That's okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the best I've ever done. It's crazy.
Tools. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah? You got breaks, you got breath. So I have one more variation to show you, and you are more than welcome to take this variation looking like this. This can be what it looks like. Your legs can be up the wall. There's a lot of power in observation of seeing what others are doing around you. But one more variation to play, and then we're going to come and roll and lie down. But we did locust pose on the floor. We've done variations of forearm stand. What is happening? We've done variations of forearm stand. And now we'll move in towards a version of Pincha Mayurasana, feathered peacock, which is forearm stand with a little back bend in it. So it looks like this. For this variation, you can't really use, you can use the blocks, but they might not serve a purpose. But the idea is you come a handprint or two away from the wall, forearms down, shrug your shoulders to the ears, and soften between the shoulder blades. And now as you tuck your toes, I walk it in. Because if I kick up from here, it's going to feel like I have a light year to go. So I try and walk it in as much as I possibly can. And when I can't walk it in anymore, I walk it in even more. And then lift one leg, tiny bend in the bottom knee. And it's these hops to reach both feet to the wall. And now to add the back bend, it's like locust pose. My feet stay touching. I think chest forward to the wall. And as my chest moves forward, maybe there's a second of hang time before your feet lift. But you're doing this. Chest forward between the hands and hugging the legs together.
And you're looking, and your
Face is forward. I'm looking at the wall. Yeah, because when you look down, for me, I go down. So I think chest forward.
And any tips on getting your
Feet away from the wall. The further forward your chest goes, it'll feel like, oh, I can't bring my chest in. My shoulders go way forward of the elbows. The further forward your chest goes, the legs have like a counterbalance to move away from the wall. They might just like, boop, come down. But even if it's a second, a glimmer. Yeah. But that action of thinking chest forward is going to help hug your shoulder blades together. That's the action of the block. If you saw that and you're like, I'm great, I don't want to do that, please do not. Do exactly what you just did. You can rest for a moment or two. You can work on dolphin without the blocks and explore lifting one leg up at a time. But if you are going into that kick up version, I'll talk you through it. If you're not going into that, I cut you loose for a few moments and you work on your own. But we'll come back in a few moments. So if you're coming into that Pincha Mayurasana version, face the wall, come about a handprint away from the wall. I promise it doesn't move. And now interlace your fingers, bring the webbing of your hands together, shrug your shoulders to the ears, and soften between your shoulder blades. Tuck all 10 toes under, lift your knees and hips up, take a breath. And now walk it in, 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 walk it in. When you can't walk it in anymore, walk it in another inch. And now as you push through your forearms, lift your hips, lift your favorite leg, tiny bend in the bottom knee, and it's these little hops to think both tush to the wall, both feet to the wall. Once your feet come to the wall, hug the legs together. And now think heart forward, look forward, chest forward, hug the shoulder blades together. Nice, Jacqueline. Hug the shoulder blades together. And as the shoulder blades come together, maybe, even if it's for a whisper of a second, the feet come lighter away from the wall. Yay!
We're not getting any wall in our line of business.
Nicely said. And see if you can bring your legs more to the right. Towards, yes. That's it. That's it. And now chest even more forward. Yes. I saw. I know. So when you've had your fill, let's do some counter poses. Take your time to come back to your space in the room. There's no rush. But come on back. And we'll meet just for a moment in downward facing dog. Have your blocks framing out the front of your mat. You may or may not use them as we move about. But as you find your way to your down dog, for some counterbalance hip openers, we'll meet in pigeon pose. You can lift the right leg to the sky, draw your right knee to your right wrist, and lower your right shin down onto the ground. If for any reason pigeon isn't suitable on the knee or hip, you can do reclined figure 4. You can also do lizard lunge. But in your pigeon, walk your right knee to come as wide as the right side of your mat, so wider than your right hip. As the right knee comes wide, hug your knees in towards one another, give them a squeeze. Take a big breath in as you lift your chest. And now on your exhale, one palm at a time, begin to walk your hands to the left corner of your mat, the left side. With each inhale, hug the knees in towards each other. Pull the right knee back, wrap the left knee forward. And now walk your hands a handprint forward from where they are. You can stay right here as you push your palms down and forward. Think right tush towards your mat. It might not touch, mine's nowhere near, but think right hip towards the earth. Now this is plenty, a twisted pigeon. Or you might lower down onto your forearms. You might bend your right elbow and bring it to the block or to the floor on the outside of your on the left side of your mat. You might also bring your right elbow to the arch of your right foot. As you bring the right elbow to the right foot, think chest forward towards the front of the room. And then maybe the left palm gets lighter and you stack palm on top of palm to turn your chest open to the left. But every inhale, the heart moves forward. Every exhale, the belly revolves from right to left. And now inhale to release that left palm, lower the right hand, walk the left knee forward, walk it forward, and step yourself back to downward facing dog. Pedal the heels one at a time, notice what you feel and see. And now for the second side, left leg lifted up and back, left knee to the left wrist, either supine figure 4 or lizard lunge. The wider your left knee is to the left side of your mat, it does two things. It helps balance the legs and hips. It also helps you find access to that foot. But take a breath in to lift up through the chest. And now hug your knees in towards each other. Pull the right knee forward, wrap the left knee back. Stay here breathing, or one palm at a time. You might start to walk your hands to the top right corner of your mat. Push down and forward through your hands. And think left outer hip towards the long edge of your mat. Take a big breath in. Stay for your exhale as you offer that breath up. There's so much to do here. Breathe and be here. Or you might bend your left elbow and bring it to the right side of your mat. It might even come to the arch of your left foot. And as you point your left fingertips to the sky, think chest forward towards the front of the room. And from your belly, revolve open to the right. Maybe the right hand stays to help you steady yourself, or it climbs up onto the left palm like Anjali Mudra. But with each inhale, the chest goes forward, and every exhale, the belly revolves open to the right. Now on your next inhale, slowly release the right palm. Lower the left hand, walk the right knee forward, walk it forward. And we'll meet in our last down dog of class as you lift your hips to the sky. Pedal those heels one at a time. Notice any difference that you feel and see. And now from your down dog, lower both knees to the ground and come to lie on your back with your head up towards me, your feet to the wall behind you. Have your blocks close by, or at least one block, and have your therapy balls close by as well. We'll take some time to roll. If you need any of those things, feel free to call Kashika and I over, and we're more than happy to bring you anything you need. But once you're on your back, bend your knees, bring both feet onto the floor, and we'll take a few rounds of breath in supported bridge pose. So shrug your shoulders to the ears, wiggle the shoulder blades together, and as you push down and forward through your feet, lift your hips up and slide a block to its lowest or second lowest height, right underneath your tush. If you want to come up higher, I just like to stack 2 blocks on top of each other. It feels like a more stable foundation. For we're looking to be in a place where you can really find the fullness of your own breath. Once your hips land onto the blocks, shrug your shoulders to those ears, snuggle the shoulder blades together, and let the back of your head be heavy onto the ground to lift your chin. Your hands can stay where they are. They might rest on your body or alongside of you, but take 3 deep breaths wherever you find yourself. From your nose, breathe into your belly and up into your heart. And every exhale, offer all of that breath out. It's time in our yoga practice to restore, to reflect, to reassess, all in the service of engaging in our world more fully and clearly. So after a few breaths in supported bridge, you can press through your feet, lift your hips just enough, and pop the block out from underneath your tush as you lower your hips to the ground. With your feet as wide as your mat, slowly drop your knees from side to side like windshield wipers on a car. And just take notice of what it feels like to have one knee turned in versus out, and vice versa. These next 2 rounds, can you go at tempo with your breath? Each inhale, the knees come up through center, and long exhales to drop the knees over to the other side. Once you've gone evenly from one side to the other, let the knees and feet come back. Give them a squeeze in towards your chest. Perhaps you're here, come into your version of happy baby, letting your hands catch the backs of your thighs, or your calves, or the pinky edges of your feet. Maybe there's some stillness, or you gently lean from one side to the other, but take a full breath in. And on your exhale, release the hold of your legs to the earth. I'm going to talk us through therapy balls in the upper back. If there's a region that your body knows that you're preferring this afternoon, please feel free to take it. You're also more than welcome to set up early for rest. We'll meet you there very soon. But if you're doing therapy balls in the upper back, they can stay in their tote or you can take them out. But hold on to them as you lift your head and shoulders up off the ground. And from your upper back, pop the therapy balls between your shoulder blades to the top tips of your shoulder blades. Good, they'll come on either side of your spine. In between the blades of your shoulders. And once you find a sweet spot, your head might come down onto the floor. Or if you'd like to alleviate some pressure, your head might come up onto a block. But once you find a place where you can breathe in, let your arms fall anywhere they fall as you take a long breath in and a deeper breath out. Now you're more than welcome to stay right here for a few breaths, or to find 2 more places with your knees bent, feet on the ground. Push through your legs just enough to roll your body towards your head until those therapy balls come down to the middle of your shoulder blades, slightly lower than where they just were. Once you find this new place, bring any blocks with you if you have them. Take a big breath in. And even open your mouth to let all of that breath go. You might keep your arms heavy on you or alongside of you. Or just watching for your neighbors, you might reach your arms slowly to the sky and move them almost like seaweed in water from one side to the other. You might keep one arm reaching to the ceiling as one arm reaches overhead towards the front of the room, and vice versa. But let it all be an offering for your breath itself. Now, after a few breaths here, let your arms come down by your sides. And for one more place, push through your legs. Roll your body north until those therapy balls come south to the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, where we spent so much time this afternoon. With your head on the block or on the ground, take a big breath in, and even open your mouth to let all of that breath go. Stay right here, where those arms might reach up to the sky as you give yourself a hug, as if your hands are reaching for the therapy balls behind your back. But let the palms and the fingers be soft. Maybe you lean a little from side to side. If you're giving yourself that embrace, switch which elbow is on top, just to see if that creates any difference. And then after a few breaths here, we'll make that exit journey out. You can release any and all blocks out from beneath you. Either roll to one side to push the therapy balls out of the way, or scooch your hips towards your heels so you feel those therapy balls come up your back. But however they exit, let them fully come out. For not always, but sometimes they create more tension and softness during rest. As you make your way towards Shavasana, give yourself time to add any layers or props. You might have that rolled up blanket underneath your knees, so your low back can really settle to the earth. You might have a blanket over your thighs or belly for warmth. You might let your hair down or let your glasses set off to the side. But if there's anything that you need that you can do for yourself to become even 2% more comfortable than you are already, please feel free to take it. As you drape yourself down onto the altar of the earth, I'll talk you through a few rounds of pranayama, of some gentle breath work, to prepare the body for rest. You're more than welcome to simply listen, and I really invite you to follow along at your own pace. For a few rounds of this interrupted or suspended breath, Viloma Pranayama, start by taking a breath in through the nose to fill your belly and up into your chest, and exhale to let every drop of that breath go. And with your lips closed, picture your next inhale in 3 separate parts. First inhale, breathe into your belly. Pause here. Next, breathe into your lungs and the sides of your waist. Hold. Third, breathe up into your heart. Gently pause at the top, and then exhale through your nose to let every drop of that breath go. Hold at the bottom of your breath. And begin again. Inhale, the belly slowly expands as you retain. Fill the lungs and the sides of your waist. Hold. Fill the back and front of your heart. Pause. And exhale through your nose to offer that breath out. 2 more times, following your breath more than my voice. Inhale to fill your belly. Retain. Fill your lungs. Hold. Fill the back and front of your chest. Pause. And exhale through your nose to let all of that breath go. Last round. Inhale to fill your belly, retain. Fill your lungs, hold. Fill the back and front of your chest, pause. And exhale through your nose to offer that breath out. Now, without any holds or pauses, take a breath to fill your belly, your chest, your throat, the crown of your head, and exhale to let all of that breath go. Feel the slow, steady rhythm of your breath, where you let each breath gently dissolve the practice that was. Each breath helps you arrive to where you are now. And each breath that comes after makes a little more space for what has yet to come. So as you let your breath, let your body become heavier into the ground, the heavier your physical body becomes, the more spacious and the lighter you may just start to feel. Begin to deepen your breath. Take a longer breath in and a deeper breath out. Take another breath in, down, and wide. And as you exhale, offer all of that breath out. Let your breath begin to slowly awaken the very body that you're in and the being that you are, with any gentle movements that feel good to you. You might roll your wrists or ankles in one or the other direction. Perhaps you tip your head from one side to the other, heavy against its support. Just watching for any neighbors or props around you. Perhaps you reach your legs away from your arms or draw your knees in towards your own chest. But when the time comes, we'll meet with the knees bent, arms overhead, as you roll over to any side of your choice to curl into yourself. A breath or two here against the ground. And as you push down into the earth, come up to rise to a tall seat, just as we began. With those eyes softly closed or softly open, can you once again listen for the sound of your breath? Take a deep breath in, down, and wide. And as you exhale, offer the breath up and out in every direction. Our time together will finish with one more of those breaths. You can place your hands to anywhere that feels like center for you. As you take a deep breath in, to let it all go. You might bow your head to your hands or lift your hands to your head in such a simple yet sweet gesture of self-reverence, bowing to your heart and the hearts of each other who practiced right alongside next to you. And with all of our hearts, Kaushika and I bow to each and every one of you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. stay warm, stay dry, take care of yourselves and each other. I'll be out next Monday, but class will be on. Trina's teaching. Next Monday. So come through if you're around, and then I'll be back teaching all the holiday classes the next 2 weeks. My beloved Adriana and I are teaching a solstice class. It's going to be an hour and a half. I'll do 45 minutes of feet to head rolling, and then she'll teach restorative and yoga nidra on the longest night of the year, on the 21st, and then it'll get lighter and lighter. So if you're free on Saturday the 21st, come through. And then I think that's it. Anyone else have announcements? Any things that you're going to, you're seeing, you're doing? Hi, good. Eric Hinckley, who's done a lot of the designs, like the t-shirt designs, he posted on Instagram that he's having a studio sale this Thursday at 12th and Carpenter. And his stuff is just incredible. And there's a few other people who are doing, thank you, a studio sale. So that's on Thursday at 5 if you're free and around. Did we see Wicked? Yes, good. Not yet. Come on, y'all. It's been a week. Okay, you have next week. What do you mean it's sold out? Oh, yeah, okay. I'm like, you also can't go. I went on a Tuesday at 11:30 just by the nature of my